Scott Busby here with Just Busby Law, Just Be Just. Today I want to talk about just write your story. On our website we talk about writing a better ending to your personal injury story. And before there's ever a lawsuit, there is almost always a demand letter that is written. And that can be the key to resolving your claim before a lawsuit ever has to be filed. So, what are the attributes of a great demand letter? Well, I've got 5 attributes that I think are key to writing a fantastic demand letter. The first is that you really should have it on a law firm's letterhead. And the better known the lawyer, the more experienced the lawyer, the better. I've been doing this 30 years, and when the insurance company or the company you're making a claim against sees a law firm they know and a lawyer they respect, you've put yourself in a very good position. Good lawyers know how to write a powerful, persuasive, passionate presentation of your story. The second attribute is the question of what we call liability. Who caused this injury? And a lot of times it's real simple. Maybe it's a rear ender, but even those aren't always simple. But in a car wreck, usually there's just 2 parties. Sometimes there's 3 or more, or maybe there's a more complicated situation that is presented with multiple parties. Well, you've got to explain either there's clear liability, and even there's one party and it's clear liability. You need to say that with impacts and you take liability off the table. But if it's more complicated with multiple parties or some unusual legal issue that's at stake, you may have to cite certain statutes and make some technical arguments with the help of an engineer or an expert to establish the liability of the party you're making a claim against. Point being, the liability section of your demand letter is very important, just so you can almost put the liability questions aside and get to the damages. So that's the third thing about a demand letter. It needs to spell out the medical injury. What exactly, how were you impacted? Medically, financially, lost wages. But on the medical bills in particular, you don't just list the medical bills. You pull elements from the narratives in the medical records that tell your story, that talk about the type of injury you had, or maybe you're going to attach a copy of an x-ray that shows a fracture. Anyway, there are great ways, and a lot of times this is technical data, medical data, that you need to explain exactly how you were injured. The fourth element that is important in a demand letter is a legal technical section. It's describing the actual offer you're making. You're proposing a contract. You're proposing to sign a release in exchange for some money. And those legal terms really, some releases are 5 to 10 pages long. Some are more simple, but a lot of times there's some technical language that needs to be in there for confidentiality, or maybe it relates to liens, or maybe you're not releasing all the parties. Maybe there's some complex insurance questions that need to be addressed. The bottom line is those need to be spelled out and the proper statutes cited in the demand letter to make sure that if they happen to accept your offer, you've already told them all the key terms that you want them to agree to. The fifth most important, perhaps, attribute of a great demand letter is what I call the impact narrative. Now, you've already told a lot of your story, but this gets it down to real world human terms. How has it impacted you? How has it impacted your family? Are there things that you could do before? You used to ride a bike and now you can't. Maybe you used to do a lot of travel and now you can't. Or maybe you're a parent. There are things with your children. You can't even lift them up, maybe. Or you can't coach their little league or attend certain events. The bottom line is, I can almost guarantee if you've had an injury of any significance, there's going to be an adverse impact and you need to tell that story. And what in the world if you've lost a loved one? You've really got to tell their story of their life and what it meant to all those around them, and what their future looked like. And you've got to describe that. We use PowerPoint presentations, or sometimes even I've had videos that were played at an individual's funeral that do a beautiful job of telling the value of that person and the loss that's been suffered by them, future life they lost, and their family. The bottom line is the impact narrative has to be told with great persuasion and passion. So if you'd like some help telling your story, please call us and visit our website, and you can connect with us via email or give us a call. We offer free consultations to assess your case and be happy to talk to you about your story. And remember, just be just.